and we're live. So I'm here on this breaking news. I guess this is the first breaking news segment that we've actually done. So I'm here with Bitcoin Barry, and we're talking about the latest developments that just happened right now. I was composing some messages and looking through my feed, and sure enough, I see this news from Raw Alerts, and they are talking about hackers have stolen leaked internal documents from one of the largest IoT service providers at the Pentagon, Homeland Security, NASA, and other government agencies. And this is coming directly from Bloomberg. Like, obviously, this is terrible news for the entire government, but this and we hate it for them. I mean, it's obviously it's bad news bears for the government. But you know, you want to talk about a more bullish scenario for Constellation. I mean, it doesn't get any more bullish than this. You know, this universal DLT kit that is brought out by Constellation in conjunction with Symbichain, this is already in the government right now. This is in their arsenal right now, and they're working on implementing this like even further than it already is. There was an announcement from co-founder Benjamin Diggles, I think it was in May, that they're in the process of implementing this secure blockchain solution Department of Defense wide. And this is like as serendipitous as it gets right now. I mean, You know, you want proof that you need to secure your network? Boom. Like, you just got hacked, bro.
Dagna, you have great points. This is a shocking update, and actually, I think it's a great example that the current systems that we have in place are totally and wholly obsolete. There's no better example or no better call or reason why we need to have this technology replaced. What better than the hypergraph Constellations network, which, as we know and as you pointed out, on basically every stream or every talk, this is fully backed and supported by the Department of Defense. Yeah. Talk about what better accolade do you need than that?
Yeah, I mean, you don't get any better validation than that. I'm trying to, I mean, I'm still sort of blown away. I'm trying to pull up some documents here. Let me actually see if I can share this screen here of Telegram, actually, because a lot of this stuff is actually relevant to some of the stuff that was just announced a couple of days ago. There was a partnership that
3IT, I think, right?
Yeah. Let me. I don't know. Let me pull up that. Yeah. So Diggles dropped in that partnership announcement the other day. And if you look at, go ahead.
Declan.
No. I'm still working up, trying to build, pull up all these documents for people to see. I mean, this is.
This is just shocking that that the systems in place have enabled these very dangerous vulnerabilities, which is a huge national security concern, which should really, I would say at the very least scare those in power in this country, in the United States, where we both live, but also hopefully at most encourage them, the powers that be, to update and secure the data with best-in-class technology that modernizes the systems today, instead of relying on technology from 20, 30, 40 years ago. It's incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, and so here's the news press from I think it was just yesterday. So they partnered with this company 3IT that offers zero trust architecture solutions for the federal government. and it walks down, talking about this partnership, and talks about how Constellation is the leading blockchain solution for the federal government. And it talks about this company, 𝘂𝗏𝗄, and it's a small business, and they're largely providing solutions for the military. So this is a company that a lot of people have probably never even heard of, myself included. But if you look at them and what they do, they already have solutions that they already have contracts. So, these guys are deeply involved in the government right now. And this just further solidifies the stuff that Constellation has been doing. And this company has been working with the Pentagon for years. They're already implemented in the Department of Defense, and they have programs within the Air Force, and they have solutions for key infrastructure. These secure tokens, like you can think about it. So, again, people want to see why there is a need for blockchain. Well, here's proof right here. This IT infrastructure was hacked.
Yeah, how many more hacks have to happen until Constellation really becomes that standard? I remember probably a year or two ago, maybe even 3, when Diggles, I believe, said, "Oh well," and maybe it was Jorgensen, but I think it was Diggles, where he said, "Oh, imagine if there's 2 logos side by side. One says protected by Constellation, data secure Constellation. The other logo does not have Constellation's, trademark or logo."
Yeah, no, that's you're exactly right. I can probably find that scenario where he was actually talking about that. That was when they got their first contract with the government, when they went from phase 1 to phase 2, and
yes.
he outlined what exactly was in that press release and why it was such a big deal. I've shared that video clip. Let me see if I can pull it up. I've shared that probably hundreds, if not thousands of times. Okay, here it is right here.
One of them is going to have a check mark on it that's going to say Constellation is managing this data or validating this data or encrypting this data. And one of them is not going to have that check mark. And you're going to have to ask yourself, which one is the end consumer going to have to use, right? And so that's why I kind of push back when people are like, "Oh, are you working with SpaceX or you're working with Microsoft?" It's like, no, we're working so that they don't have a choice but to use our solution when they're ingesting and disseminating data. So that's the thing I really wanted to put that check mark, is like, hey, we got Constellation inside, and that's where we're aiming for. And I'm not trying to commoditize our solution by any means, but let's just say from a DevSecOps perspective that you deploy this, you get to the point where, okay, this data is what it says it is. That then is the platform that opens up the next layer, which is the microservices. How do we start to then automate certain things, because we have passed that area where we don't have to worry about the data being whack, right? It's kind of like we talked a little bit about those artificial intelligence engines. If we're able to pre-process the data and show that it's what it's supposed to do before it makes its way into the artificial intelligence algorithm from a validation criteria perspective, using that state channel approach, all of a sudden now artificial intelligence engines can start to consume data from different sources without scientists and folks having to get in the way to mask it, clean it, scrub it, and so forth. And this is what we're really, really focused on from a microservices perspective when we talk about smart contract automation, is data that's being passed in an orchestration when we're talking about very, very sensitive stuff, moving to Civil Reserve Air Fleet partners. Those partners are in contested environments. They may be overseas in some country that they have to accept this data using the public internet. And if some of that data has top secret clearance level data in it, they can't send it over that network. So this hopefully starts to show that, like, hey, we can actually start passing not just a data pipeline, but the contents of the data pipeline to the appropriate constituents with that fidelity and assurance.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
Boom. Like,
you had that handy. I mean, you had that handy. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, boom.
It's impressive.
Like full stop. And to nail home what he's talking about, just so everybody's like crystal clear on what's happening right here. This is that metagraph that they set up for U.S. Transcom and the subsidiary of that, the Civil Reserve Air Fleet, which is CRAF. So, you know, the other thing that's important for everyone to know is the Civil Reserve Air Fleet. Every major airline in the United States is actually part of this. Yeah. So hold on. Let me. Yeah. We're still here. So this is how it works. It's a secure data pipeline, and you can see how it all operates there. So these different craft members are all going to send data to the mothership, which is U.S. Transcom. And it's very, very important because you're dealing with critical information. You don't want people to learn about that you're sending a mission to some sort of special ops mission into Africa, right? And you're not going to go there with a U.S. Air Force jet, right? You would probably want to send a UPS plane or an American Airlines plane or just some other plane that goes there on a regular basis, but it wouldn't be on a regular mission. Inside there would be stuff that you didn't want anybody to know about.
Right, exactly. And Dagnum, I mean, think about this. Constellation has been getting, I think its first contract was in 2018, 2019 with the Air Force. Fast forward to that clip you just showed with Diggles, probably, 3 years ago, maybe. Think about how advanced this technology, Constellation's technology, was at that time. Fast forward today to middle of 2024, think of how advanced it is compared to even then, and then compare it to not only the rest of the DLT solutions in the space, but the current solutions used by the government and the contractors today. Just imagine how far advanced Constellation's tech is, and how really, I think, why it will become that, or why I predict it will become a federal standard one day, whether it's 6 months or 6 years. I think it's going to come. And I think that's exemplified by just the contracts that Constellation has been winning. Really, truly phenomenal and incredible for a tech startup that was founded in 2017, 2018. Just amazing what Constellation has accomplished in a short period of time.
Yeah, and you can look here on who actually is all involved, so everybody can understand. I'll go back to this picture here. So here's CRAF, right? The Civil Reserve Air Fleet. And then here's all the members that are in the Civil Reserve Air Fleet. So look, American Airlines, Delta, Federal Express, Hawaiian Airlines, Omni Air International. And this is something that we've all talked about before. They're a partner with Constellation, United Airlines, UPS, US Airways. This is a really, really big deal. And this is how actually you got people on board like the National DigiFoundry, which again, this whole thing, look at the people involved in this. You got the National Science Foundation, you got the U.S. Department of Treasury, and you've got the U.S. Space Force. So this whole thing is a metagraph itself. And that's something that I don't think that has hit home for a lot of people, and I don't think that they fully understand what's actually happening here. But this whole thing is a DAO, and this whole infrastructure that you see here, this is all using Constellation's metagraph technology. So the metagraph technology is a layer 1 infrastructure. So it's like an Ethereum. So you could literally build your own Ethereum on top of the hypergraph. And every one of these stakeholders, like the US Department of Treasury, National Science Foundation, Space Force, NASA, all these people are, guess what? They're holding a Stargazer wallet. And I've pointed this out literally thousands of times, but you could go to their website yourself and you can look and you can see clearly here, this is not a Bitcoin address. This is not even a Solana address. This is a Constellation DAG address that can clearly be seen here, and you can verify it yourself by going to the Explorer and just copying this address here. And who are some of the participants in this space working group that are utilizing Constellation's Metagraph technology? Well, look, you can see the National Science Foundation, NASA, Space Force, the Defense Innovation Unit. I mean, it doesn't get any clearer than this, that they're using this technology. The other partner that's actually part of the hackathon is 𝘂𝗵𝗽𝗁. I can't type in. I'm
not a multitasker either. 𝘂𝗵𝗽 chain. Yes.
Yeah. So here's the Metagraph hackathon that's being put out right now from Constellation, and you can see the partners here, Panasonic and 𝘂𝗵𝗽. So 𝘂𝗵𝗽 is a huge federal integrator. They have blockchain solutions for the federal government. IBM, and again, here's the National DigiFoundry. Let me see if it talks about 𝘂𝗵𝗽. Yeah, so 𝘂𝗵𝗽 chain, through their strategic work together on the Iron Spider program, that was the picture that I showed you, the blockchain solution that they built for the federal government that just went Department of Defense wide. That was that, I'll pull up that other clip, I think. I've posted that several times, where he literally got the announcement during consensus for a secure information sharing federal program. Okay, so if you look, we'll go here and we'll go, this is 𝘂𝗵𝗽's website. So this isn't Constellation's website. This is 𝘂𝗵𝗽's website talking about the secure information sharing blockchain solution that they have built for the federal government. So, you know, while today is an unfortunate event, I mean, it's incredibly bullish for this application.
Exactly right. And also, Dagnum, think about what happened with CrowdStrike. You know, CrowdStrike, I think it's a $65-70 billion company, tried facilitating an update late last week, and it basically took down the entire world. I mean, banks, travel, you couldn't do anything. But CrowdStrike itself basically, is meant to protect networks, but also physical products. When you look at Constellation's partnership, or even relationship with Panasonic, look at Panasonic's products. It's a $20 billion company that is all over the technology world, but also down to physical consumer products, durable products like your ovens, your toaster ovens, really everything. It's in basically every industry,
yeah.
Panasonic. And then you look at where Constellation is with the Door traffic miner, which, the team Diggles and Jorgensen have said basically is the first, as I recall, is the first, it sounds to me like first product, physical product, test product, I think, or I hope at least. It's a great use case. So where else could this go? I mean, hey, man, I think the sky's the limit, especially as things, and no wonder why Panasonic is interested in Constellation's technology.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. And here's the secure information, the Iron Spider program, if you will. Initially, it was called the Universal Blockchain Toolkit. they've changed their names. The government loves little acronyms or whatever. Iron Spider is actually like way cooler. But you can see that this is actually a multi-chain approach. So you can see down there at the bottom, Constellation, obviously, CGI Federal. They're another huge federal integrator that has, I think thousands of federal contractors, and then Simba Chain, and then 𝗂𝗵𝗽. 𝗂𝗵𝗽 is the secure data storage solution for this. And, you can see how all of this fits together. The DoD up there is at the top, and then you can see over there up in the corner, the craft partners, and all of this is secured by blockchain. And so this is literally happening. This has already happened. And that's something that, I've tried to highlight and point out for people. People want to know like when adoption is going to happen. Well, adoption has already happened. The government, like everyone's talking about Bitcoin and the government. Well, bro, the government has been using blockchain. They literally have a Stargazer wallet. Like,
that's right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what clear indication you want to get than that. And to your point about like securing public IoT infrastructure, here's the Door Metagraph. So the Door Metagraph is their, it was the first public metagraph that went live, and all of this data is secured on a public chain. And so each one of these snapshots is data being sent from one of these IoT sensors. And to talk about your point with Panasonic, Panasonic is one of the world's leading IoT solutions. They have IoT devices in almost everything, especially industry. A lot of car manufacturers use Panasonic IoT products. The government uses, even local governments use a lot of Panasonic products, like the Toughbooks.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. But look, and also think about, just going to, your point on this data. This data has to live somewhere, and I kind of think Constellation's building the new internet. And as we know, well, guess who created the first internet? The military. Yeah. In the mid 1900s, 1960s, 1970s, the internet was created really by the military. It was an internal system at first, and it took years to evolve. You look at what's happening today with hacks, but also with just transfer of data in a secure manner. It's happening on Constellation, but Dagnum, this is not, to your point, hypothetical or conjecture or, fantasy land. This is actually happening and being implemented as tried and battle tested by the military. So, yeah. And to your point with Craft and all the airlines that are members, I think it's only a matter of time until maybe these airlines themselves have a Stargazer wallet. And then we get into this talk of, well, gee, okay, we have a Stargazer wallet. Oh, we have these tokens. Oh, gee, how do we bring our customers back in a way that gamifies their experience, really going into loyalty programs? So this is much more than just, hey, we can securely transfer data. This goes down, I think that's really the tip of the iceberg. Anything can be done because any data type comes alive on Constellation. So who knows where this stops or where it really ends. That's what's so exciting to me about this network.
Yeah, and you and I have actually talked about the loyalty aspect. Let me change this. I'll add this. Yeah. That's better. I had the other one, and it didn't really look. But yeah, so I talked about this the other day when it was announced that Panasonic was actually part of the hackathon. And not only were they part of the hackathon, but they're actively going to be looking at how these metagraphs are implemented in the hackathon. And I told people that, it would probably be super beneficial for them to sort of look at Panasonic's suite of products and think about, hacking a way to integrate Panasonic products, considering the fact that Panasonic is going to be watching this event, right? And so,
100%.
Yeah. I mean, so by next year, 27 billion connected IoT devices are going to be coming online. That's insane. I mean,
and imagine if 1%
of
of those are on the hypergraph. Imagine if 1% of those are on the hypergraph. That's 270 million devices.
Right. And then if you look here, I mean, it's an estimated to be something like $700 billion by 2030. And you don't need to capture the entire market of that. You just need to capture a fraction of that market. And this is just one use case. This is just securing IoT systems. I mean, Panasonic has way more stuff than just IoT applications. And you can, all of this stuff, like you were talking about, is about secure information sharing. I mean, it's literally any use case because you're just securing the underlying data. But in just the IoT market, because that's one of the great things about Constellation's toolkit, is you can literally plug in any existing device. So all of these existing IoT sensors, like cameras, smart fridges, smart TVs, all of that stuff, the stuff that's already on the market can be integrated with this Constellation tech stack today. You don't need to do anything.
Even your toaster node example. Really, any device that can be connected to the internet really could be anything. Your famous toaster node.
Dude, yeah. I mean, people laughed at my toaster node idea from 2021, but it was clear to me back then the ramifications of this technology. And people wanted to know, well, like, what could you do with it? And I said, well, you can buy a Wi-Fi toaster right now, and you could literally have a toaster node. I mean,
the sky's the limit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sky's the limit. I mean, you are literally a node. I mean, that's the great thing about this network, is it allows literally anybody and anything to become a node.
And also look at the Nest cameras, the Ring doorbells, because you can obviously, like I do, I go to my smartphone and check on the Nest, check on the Ring doorbell, whatever devices are connected to the internet, to your point, can become a node, which I think is fascinating. I think when we look, but also remember the value of this data is in the trillions, probably even tens of trillions of dollars. And I think if 1% of that comes online to the hypergraph, I think that will be, or I, in my own opinion, I'm not a financial advisor, will be reflected in the price of the token. And I say that because, look, people say about utility, which of course I want to know too. There's also something about the fact that Constellation's been around since 2017. The fact that this token's been around that long and the company's been around that long shows me that the company and the tech have staying power, which should give anyone confidence that, yes, the team have delivered, and that, yes, this all plays a central part when it comes to the token. I like to call it, I haven't really given it a name yet, but my theory is the stronger the fundamentals, the stronger the token is. And of course, the team, which I'm a big fan of, I think, whether you want to call it proof of resiliency or resiliency as utility or whatever, the staying power really is second to none when you look at what this team have accomplished, where the tech is being implemented. And when they get a percentage of that total, call it market cap of data on the hypergraph, I mean, the market cap of DAG itself, who knows where this is going to go. But if Solana and other scams can get to 50, 100 billion because of some YouTube shills, who want to pump their own bags based on meme coins and cat tokens, I mean, look, I can't give my prediction on DAG, but 50 billion should be a joke by 2030. That's just my own opinion.
No, I mean, so I talked about that the other day about last year, the global GDP was something like $105 trillion. And, securing this data, I mean, how much is all of that data worth? And it's not like, so even today during the space with Algorand, like, I'm not suggesting that, Constellation is going to be like the end all solution for everything. But with this, like with this screen right here, showing an example. So Constellation already has the world's largest customer. I mean, that's already a done deal. They're already the world's largest customer, the United States of America, who's also the world's largest data producer, is already a customer of Constellation. They're already using their technology. Constellation is already the number one blockchain application used by the federal government. So what do you think is going to happen when we see more and more hacks and data breaches like what happened today? It's just going to drive adoption further and for this to become a standard. And it's only a matter of time now before this comes out of the top secret DoD bunkers into the public sphere. Because like you were pointing out the other day about the CrowdStrike, and it's not just them. Last November, I think that there was some water district in Pennsylvania that was hacked. And, like how many more of these critical infrastructures do we need to see go down before we start securing them? And there already is a secure solution. It's Constellation's network, the hypergraph. This is already an approved solution that's being used by the federal government for end-to-end encryption right now. Like that's not even debatable. Like this is being used.
Exactly. And I want to leave a final thought before I depart, that one of the core components here are the node operators, that obviously play a critical role in the technology here with validating transactions, as part of, and I'm a proud node operator, and to me, having a node, as we think about percentage of, GDP of data, having a node on Constellation to me is like having a building on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan in the 1970s or 1980s, before its value was really realized and before people understand the importance of this, of the node operators. I think having this opportunity is truly, I think, once in a lifetime. First, it's pretty cool to say, hey, one day will play a role in validating federal, sensitive data through Constellation via my node, whatever that, which is happening now. So I think that's pretty awesome. I think it's kind of patriotic in a way. But there's also a value to that, to having that node, which I think we're not anywhere close to realizing what that will mean in the coming months and years. But it's something that I think about often, that these nodes are Fifth Avenue real estate before Fifth Avenue really was, known as the most coveted avenue in the world. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that before I jump.
Yeah, so we got a question here from one of the community guys. So you need to be a mainnet validator node, you need 250,000 DAG. But to what Barry was actually talking about,
and I will have to jump, Dagnum. I'm sorry, but this is great, man. I look forward to the next one. Thanks everyone for listening.
Thanks,
Dagnum, take it away, man.
Yeah,
bye, guys.
No, thanks. All right.
My pleasure, guys. Thanks, Dagnum.
Yep. All right. See you. Yeah. So to answer your question, you need 250,000 DAG to be a validator on the hypergraph. But let me see if I can pull up the page here, because what Barry was actually talking about, what's great about this network is these application-specific networks. So these metagraphs are all independent networks themselves. So like Intrana is its own, who's building, is its own independent blockchain network. And within that network, within that layer one network, there's validators that are needed in there. So the requirements for each one of these networks are going to be different. It'll be up to them to sort of set whatever it is. Like I pointed out the door metagraph here. So here's here's a layer one network that's built on top of the hypergraph, and it has its own nodes. So it's got 3 layer 0 nodes, but then here it's got its own internal nodes within its network. So there's 14 of these nodes. And the requirement for the collateral for a node on the door network is 1 million door tokens. But, you know, that's something that they set themselves. You know, it could be, you know, if they wanted to like scale this thing out, I mean, it could be like 10 door tokens. I mean, it's about whatever the network wants and deems necessary. And that's what's great about this network is it's literally like an a la carte. You know, you get to decide how your network is built. The hardware requirements. So the hardware requirements to run, are you talking about the hardware requirements to run a node? I believe that is also on this document page for setting up a node. It's really minimal, but you know, again, it depends on what type of node you're going to run on the network. Like if you're just going to have a node validate data within that layer one, within that metagraph itself, it could be you know, as simple as the stuff that's on your phone. Oh, got a phone call here. Yeah, so it could be as simple as running the stuff from your phone. Most of the hardware that you have on your phone is requirement enough to run a node, and I believe that's been shown. Actually, it's been shown that you could actually run a node from your phone. The requirements is super minimal here on this network. And that's really what I hope that people look at the documentation and start mucking around with the toolkits, because they can really just see how powerful this network can be with just a minimal amount of resources. And yeah, so I mean, like it's really unfortunate what happened today with this hack, but I just really hope people start paying attention to what's going on this network, because there already is a solution that's being used by the federal government right now. And it's a blockchain solution. And that's one of the great things about blockchain is it's completely immutable. It is 100% secure. and everything is transparent. And I guess maybe I can leave with a video that actually shows, they demoed this stuff in 2019, where they showed them driving down the freeway. So, you know, this isn't like, this is already happening right now. And every single time that something like this happens is just one more bullish case for this network to be adopted publicly. Let's see. All right. And that's it. I mean, I think I covered the gist of it, of this breaking news. But again, this is unfortunate that it happened. And, you know, we'll see what happens with the fallout from this data leak. But it's going to keep happening until we start securing our critical infrastructure. And there's already a secure solution in place right now. Might do a follow-up later, but yeah. All right, everybody, take it easy.